Hi, welcome to the Truth with Tal and Isaac. I'm Tal. This is Isaac. The Truth with Tal and Isaac. We are on episode number 12. Just want to thank everybody's support. Lots of fan base growing on YouTube and Instagram. And Isaac tells me that Spotify, Google, and Apple numbers are real good. I don't really know what that means, but people are paying attention and listening to a couple guys having fun talking about sports. Today's agenda, real quick, we're going to summarize last weekend's Championship Sunday. Mostly talk about Green Bay and Tampa. The KC-Buffalo game we'll just touch on briefly. We're going to talk about the best shooting guards of all time. And we got a couple of guests, special guests today. We've got Paul Morrell from Designs by Urban Paul calling in. And then we've got Amadeo Albano from DDC, which is Deo Design Corp. That's going to call in as well. Then Super Bowl preview is actually going to be our next episode. Before we jump into our agenda, just a couple of things off the top. Tigers, 5 guys in the top 25 in MLB pipeline. I'm so excited.
Yeah, bright future.
Yeah. No other team has more than 2. So we got Torkelson, Green, and then the 3 pitchers, Manning, Skubal, and Mize. The future looks bright for the Tigers. So just be patient for another 2 or 3 years. And they're going to spend some money.
Not yet.
Not yet.
A couple years.
Yep. NBA is still happening. Your Miami Heat, they're pretty much playing guys off the street.
Yeah, they're going to call us soon. It's terrible.
They're not calling me, but they might call the shooter. Washington, oh my gosh.
I blame Washington. It's Washington's fault. Sorry,
yeah, Washington started a lot of the spread.
Started Boston, started Miami. I think Memphis has it now. It's good that there's still basketball on, but, the NHL has canceled some games, postponed some games, whereas the NBA is just like, okay, you got 7 guys, 8 guys, go play basketball. And Philly, a couple weeks back, had to play with technically 8, but one of the dudes was injured, who they just said was healthy so they could field the team.
Yep.
Played with 7 dudes. Terrible.
And the rookie scored 40 points.
Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Look at our first... I'll spend a minute on this now. Our first episode, 2 names of rookies I called. Tyrese Maxey and Peyton Pritchard.
Yeah, good call.
And now, those aren't...
Pritchard is injured now, but they both had really good seasons.
Yeah.
But love what the Pistons are doing. They're doing exactly what we want them to do. Stay competitive, play lots of young dudes, and win some games. They beat the Lakers a couple days ago. It's awesome. And they're still lining up for a top 1 or 2 pick. It's a deep draft.
You want Cunningham?
Next year? We want Cunningham. Yep. Yeah. And the coaching staff that the Lions are putting together, we really haven't talked about it much together, but I love it. It just seems to be a great, diverse group of guys.
Other than that, the episode that we did on it. And if you're a Lions fan, you should go watch that episode, last episode. We spent some time on it. But, yeah, it looks good. Stafford, I read, they want him out before the Super Bowl. So stay tuned. I don't want him to pull the trigger too quick. Because I think they can really get a lot for him. I do.
Yeah, market for Stafford is hot.
Yeah.
Let's jump into Green Bay, Tampa.
Okay, so I'll go first. We want to talk about the game, but this dude's jersey behind us we want to talk about. And there's another guy whose jersey isn't behind us who we do want to spend some time on. It won't be very positive.
Sorry, Jackson.
So any Packers fans, any Rodgers fans, I'm going to put timestamps if you're listening or watching on YouTube. Skip ahead because I'm just going to put some of the truth down on the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so Tom played great in the first half. The Bucs, they're pretty inconsistent during games. They have high ups and low downs, but Tom came to play in the first half. He looked so good in the first half. Second half wasn't great, but he did what he had to do. And that brings us to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers didn't do what he had to do. Now, there's a lot of Packers fans, Rodgers fans, calling for LaFleur, calling for King, calling for the refs. The Bucs dealt with a lot of crappy stuff during that game. Some injuries, some drops. Calls were consistently... tough to get both ways, I think. The last call at the end, you have to call that. Sorry, you have to call that in that time.
You have to call that. It didn't impede his process that much, but the dude's shirt was pulled this much longer than it should have. It's just too obvious a call. So, do we want to talk about going for the field goal? Or?
Yeah, so people bashed LaFleur for going for the field goal. It was a bad decision, going for the field goal. And everyone blamed LaFleur, but just hear me out. Rodgers went on 1st and goal, probably thinking we're going for it on 4th and goal, if that comes up. LaFleur did not have that mindset. Those two morons needed to talk and figure out. I blame 50% Rodgers and 50% LaFleur for not talking and figure it out.
Rodgers was either first down or second down. He had the possibility to run 4 or 5 yards.
We'll talk about that. So Rodgers made some bad decisions in the red zone. 2 for 9 in the red zone in the game. 1 for 7 to Adams. He forced it to Adams so much, and that's not like bias. Like he did. If you watch the game,
that's the truth, baby.
So Adams is great, but if he's covered, you can't throw it to him. You're gonna have to throw to Tanyan or dump it off to a running back or something, or maybe run it and put your body on the line. But you're soft, Aaron Rodgers, and he didn't want to do that. There's a dude who's currently playing in Detroit who won't be here much longer, who if he was in that game, he's putting his head down and he's getting in the end zone, or he's getting to the 1 and getting hammered.
He would leave his spleen on the 5-yard line and get 3 more yards.
So that brings me to the difference between Tom and Aaron. Tom makes winning plays. He rallies his troops. He's the definition of a leader and a captain and a franchise quarterback. And Aaron Rodgers is not that. I was looking at a list today. Best quarterbacks of all time. Rodgers is definitely not top 10. He's borderline top 15. If you look at the list and look at the dudes out there, I talked to you about this. I think saying that Rodgers is the James Harden of the NFL isn't ridiculous. He's James Harden with a lucky ring. Because that ring,
it's one of those Moneyball things where some guys just get stats because of the system or because of where they're playing, whatever it is. Lots of stats, but you need to get rings and you need to be a leader. Like he's got 1 ring, but they've got the best team in the NFL this year.
So that ring that he won, I did a little bit of research. I don't do a ton of research for some of this stuff, but I wanted to look back because I wasn't really educated on this team.
Well, 1, you do tons of research, and 2, you're fired up.
I'm just smarter than you. Okay? So that team that they had that won the ring with, second best defense in the league for like points against. I think they allowed like 14 or 15 points a game. Great defense, had a bunch of all pros. And then if you look at their offense, that was when he had Pro Bowler Greg Jennings, Pro Bowler Jordy Nelson, had a couple solid running backs. They had a really, really good team and couldn't get it, or did get it done that year. And then if you look at this year, I was stupidly sold on the Packers. I'm like, they might rival the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Very stupid for me to think that Aaron Rodgers can come up big again because he's done that once in his career, and it was when he was getting carried, not necessarily just carried, but getting a lot of help from a really good team.
Yep.
So basically, Rodgers, I'm not a fan of. He was set up to win that game because of Bucs had no secondary, and the Packers defense played very well in the second half. They gave him 3 turnovers. Tom Brady threw 3 picks.
Yeah, Brady didn't have a great second half.
He didn't play great. I said that. 2 of those 3 turnovers ended in a 3-and-out. You can't do that. And then you want to blame LaFleur for 1 play call, which is basically half on Rodgers.
And the stats were really close in terms of going for a 4th down. Now, what the stats don't include is if you're going against Tom Brady, you need to go for it. It's like years ago when Manning was playing Brady, and it was 3rd and 10, incomplete, 4th and 10. They went for it on 4th and 10, which is not what the numbers say, but just to keep it in the other dude's hands. Because guys like Brady and Manning, they win games.
They win games. And let's just talk about Aaron Rodgers for just touch on him.
Okay.
The way he deals with the media is pathetic. It's so soft. I don't understand what the deal is with NFL superstars and NBA superstars. There's some NBA superstars, LeBron, KD, Harden, sometimes say dumb things to the media. That's a fact. They do sometimes say stupid things and cryptic things. And Rodgers is a big fan of that. First of all, right after the game saying a bunch of futures are uncertain, myself included, with a chuckle. Dude, you say, I'm not focused on that. I just wanted to win today. Whatever. No comment.
Something you have guys in your ear. You have publicists. You have image people that tell you what to say. Listen to them. Right? Don't make yourself look like a bitch.
Which is what he did. I don't like the needlessly passive-aggressive comments from Aaron Rodgers. And then the next day goes on his buddy's podcast and is asked about the MVP. What he should have said, what Tom would have said if he was in this case. I don't really care about MVP. I want to win
a Super Bowl trophy. I want to win a ring. That's what's important to me. We'll have to work harder this offseason. Just go through all those lines. If you want to do something different, get angry, show passion, show emotion about losing and how you're going to do whatever you can to improve yourself. Yeah, I know. Now I'm fired up.
I agree. And guys like Tom, guys like Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, Phillip Rivers.
Listen, I think some of Brady's stuff is probably fake, but he does. But he's smart enough to
it's
know.
Fake. Oh, 100% it's fake.
To do it properly, motivate your team, right? Your offensive linemen, man, they need to literally stand in front of a truck for you. Do you think Brady's dudes are going to, do you think Rodgers' dudes are going to be like, yeah, bitch, I think I'm just going to let that guy slide and pop you one.
Have you seen, longest yard?
Yes.
When Adam Sandler checks back in the game and his own lineman just let him come through and gets clocked.
Yep.
And Adam Sandler was like, yeah, I deserve that.
Yep.
I think the Packers need to do that a couple times.
For sure. Preseason.
Let them know.
Let
the third stringers clock them. So shut up with the passive-aggressive things, Aaron Rodgers. It's stupid. It makes you look bad. He's not leaving Green Bay. Everyone in the world knows it. I was thinking about this. The only better situation than Green Bay is Kansas City.
Yep.
Like, if you're placing a quarterback, all the other teams like Buffalo, Saints, Tampa, none of them come close to the situation that they have in Green Bay with that good running game, that good defense, with those weapons.
Good offensive linemen.
Great O-line. So, it makes me mad. But I hate Rodgers, and he really, really made it easy for me to bash on him. And we're not going to just totally focus on Tom. We will, next episode for Super Bowl, we'll talk a bit more about him. But this looked bad for Rodgers. And, good for him. He got the MVP. But what do you think Tom cares about? Would Tom rather get an MVP or another ring?
Yeah, who cares? Let's just pop on and talk about KC and Buffalo for a minute.
Yeah.
What's your quick analysis?
Buffalo looked young. They looked really inexperienced. They looked like kind of how I thought they would against a team like Kansas City. No one really thought. Like, there's a couple upset talk, but Mahomes looked healthy enough. 2 weeks rest for him going into Super Bowl is going to be huge. But the Bills just didn't look ready. They need a running back or a running game, and they got to improve their defense a bit.
Yep, I completely agree. Just showed that Buffalo's not ready to play with the big boys yet, and that's okay. They're probably a year or two ahead of their schedule anyways. So I agree. Get a running back and get another playmaker or two on defense, and you're right there with KC next year. Except Mahomes. Mahomes just has the ability that he can say, oh, I'm down 10. Okay, boom, 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 3 touchdowns in a row, and they're going to win. And until something happens with, Hill and Kelsey, I think it's tough. And honestly, I don't even think Hill is that good. Hill gets a lot of targets, gets a lot of deep balls. Kelsey's a beast.
Kelsey's a beast.
Kelsey's awesome.
Hill, if you put Hill in, if you put Stephon Diggs in Tyreek Hill's position, how does that? It's really tough to say. It's interesting.
Yeah, Hill's probably faster, but I bet you Diggs has more catches, more tough catches.
Tyreek Hill is probably the fastest dude in football, next to Tom Brady. I think they're right up there. You didn't catch that. I said Tom Brady's almost as fast as Tyreek Hill, but no,
I did miss it.
I think Hill is lightning, but that really helps him, and that offense is built to expand the field with a guy like Mahomes, and you can throw 8-yard outs to Kelsey, and then chuck it to Hill. They're super hard to guard.
For sure.
And we're going to see that in the Super Bowl, I think. But, it's really tough to say with the Chiefs and can anyone really rival them, especially in that conference. But I think we talked about, we bashed on Rodgers enough, I think. Praised Brady a good bit. Now we are going to go into call-ins. Dad, you want to introduce this?
Yeah, so I'm just zooming in our first caller. It is using Internet Auto. Yes, I want to do that. Paul Morrell, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. So we have live on Zoom, Urban Paul Morrell, old friend of mine, huge supporter of the podcast. Welcome to the show, UP. How you doing?
Good. How you doing today?
We're real good. Audio, I think, is good. You're right next to the microphone. Just so you know, the camera is not on you, even though you look good in your Urban Paul design. Just I got one of those subpar hats on, and I have
a little bit of product placement for
Urban Paul.
Yeah.
Urban Paul, tell us about yourself.
I'm a club guy like Tal's former life, love sports, and kind of as a hobby doing this Designs by Urban Paul thing, custom shoes, hats, masks,
What's your
in my spare time.
How do people find your stuff?
Go to IG, Designs by Urban Paul, and DM me if you want anything. I'll do custom shoes, and the hats are pretty fun and cool, and obviously Tal is a big supporter and has got lots of gear. So he might not be my best looking model, but
Nope.
he definitely gets the volume out there.
And I certainly abuse the hats more than anybody else.
Wow, you play that dumb cold tennis, so it is what it is.
Prison rules, winter tennis, -10, baby, this morning. -10. No problem at all.
It just proves that, you don't have to be smart to play tennis. So, next time.
I agree. Let's talk sports. Urban, you got a couple topics, questions for us?
Yeah, I got a couple things here, and I think maybe you might have to just create a whole show to some of them. So, because you guys are Detroit Piston homers, I did have some questions about the Bad Boys. I got 4 questions here. I got Grady's champions of all time across all sports.
So greatest champions of all time?
Sorry?
Greatest champions of all time?
Greatest champions of all time across all sports.
Okay.
I have 3 names I thought were there.
I just wrote down 3.
Great college b-ball players that did not make an impact on the NBA.
Danny Manning.
Yeah, or outside Candace Parker, as well. And greatest players in to never win a championship in the Jordan era.
Okay, so let's do the winner question. The first question. Urban. You said you got 3 names. 3 names instantly came to my head. I have Tom, MJ, and Wayne.
Are you talking teams or individuals, UP?
The greatest champions of all sports. I'm saying individuals.
Okay.
So those are my 3 individuals.
So you said Tom, MJ,
And Wayne Gretzky.
and Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah.
I think I got to throw in Bill Russell in there. Boy. MJ, Tom. Oh, man. How do I not have Gretzky? Who do I take out of that?
You might have to replace Bill with MJ. That's tough.
Oh, I can't take out Bill. Bill, Gretzky, Tom. Taking out MJ.
I went a little more global. I put Maradona as one.
Oh, that's
Good
big.
call.
I got MJ because, MJ rules everything.
Yeah.
And I put Serena possibly as the greatest individual sport person ever.
Individual for sure. She's up there.
For sure. Serena and Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah. So.
All right.
But that for sure is a great topic and one we can expand on for the future.
I will. I'll take a crack at the never to win a ring in the MJ era. If you want to get some college busts.
Okay.
So the 2 guys that came to my head right away were Stockton and Malone. They're when you look at lists, they're totally up there. I think Charles Barkley has to be put up there too. Those are probably the 3 in the Jordan era that he robbed them of rings. Clyde Drexler ended up winning and we'll actually talk about Clyde later for our shooting guards topic. But Clyde never won in Portland. He had to win in Houston when MJ was actually not playing. That was the year he took off. So, I don't know how you want to count that, but MJ robbed a couple rings from Clyde. Those are a couple of my names. What do you have, Urban?
Well, I don't count the Drexler one, so if that's the question.
I
do think so. I put him as one who didn't win in the Jordan era. There you got Gary Payton and Sean Kemp as well.
Yeah.
Barkley, obviously, and Barkley's probably well known because he is such a celebrity after the fact too, and nostalgia on him and him getting ribbed for not getting a ring. And then obviously the Malone Stockton combo would be, they had 2 cracks at it. So
Yeah, Barkley was the first guy to come to mind with me. College players, I'll just jump in real quick. Manning and remember Adam Morrison, who was supposed to be just amazing.
Yeah.
And he was awful. And then I'll just throw in an old school, just because you love Jordan. Sam Bowie, who was a great college player and picked ahead of Michael Jordan. We gotta finish up soon, the Urban Paul. But Sam Bowie, who did you have for college players?
I did have Adam Morrison as well. Ed O'Bannon, Jimmer Ferret.
Oh, that's a good call.
Didn't he score 70 points in a game last week in China?
Every few months, if you open Instagram, it's oh, this dude scored 90 points again. And in China.
Jimmer. That's a good one.
Also, something maybe a little bit closer to you guys, Mateen Cleaves.
Mateen Cleaves,
and,
yeah.
A guy that was absolutely phenomenal in college, Khalid El-Amin for UConn.
Yep. He was good.
Had no shot at the NBA, but definitely had an impact on college ball.
Yeah, and he was actually a real fun guy in the Syracuse days. right? When Syracuse was Georgetown in the heyday, the Big East was a lot of fun.
Definitely.
One dude in a few years who we might put on this list is Luka Garza. I don't think his game's going to translate to basketball, and he's maybe the best player in college right now.
That's a fair point.
The big dude for Iowa. Right?
He won't even be drafted in the first round.
I agree. I really don't think he will be able to play in the NBA.
Urban, any parting thoughts? Anything you want to share with us?
I can't wait to hear the best basketball player debate ever. I think Isaac and I might sit on the same side of that debate. So
Nice. The right side.
Yeah,
Listen,
the
let's
right
not
side.
suspend this.
I mean, the Scottie Pippen helping side. So
Scottie Pippen helping side. The guy who used to play with Scotty smokes a lot of cigars.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good. If you want to just go by like never having a game 7 and never losing, that's a pretty good guy to pick. So, but thanks for having me on the podcast.
Our pleasure. Yeah.
First time caller. So
Okay, first time caller, long time listener.
can't wait to hear how well this turned out, and you guys are doing a great job.
Thanks, Urban.
Isaac's showing wisdom beyond his years. I'm sure Tal, you had a lot to do with that. Maybe not all the credit, but
A little
you
bit.
guys are doing a good. You guys are doing a good podcast here, so keep up the good work.
Thanks, buddy. Everybody's really clear, and Urban Paul is really clear to say to everybody that I am just warming up the seat, so that way when the show grows and Isaac wants to bring in some real talent, all I'm going to do is like deliver cookies and cappuccinos to the real talent.
Maybe they'll let you do that.
Maybe let me do that. Thanks, UP. Take care, buddy.
All right,
Have a
thank
good
you.
day.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Okay, Urban Paul, lots of fun to bring in some guys, and in the future we're going to bring in some more guys. But right now, Isaac is calling in Amadeo Albano, DDC Corp, which is Deo Design Corp. He's sweet with the graphics. If you need some design work, he had an Instagram page up, but it came down just because of some naming rights things. So he's working that out with the lawyers, but he'll be on Insta really soon.
And we have no idea. Like, this is our first time ever doing this. We hope audio was okay.
Yeah, we hope audio's okay.
Hopefully it was okay. Okay, ready? I'm calling him down now.
Okay,
And we're going to get
gotta
him.
flip him around for a sec.
I told him he's not going on, so it's fine. Amadeo Albano, welcome to the show, sir.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being on there, Dale.
Okay, let's. Dad, you want to set a timer for a few minutes?
Sure.
5 minutes. And,
Dale, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Just a 17-year-old student at Holy Names High School.
Hard at work. We actually just had to prime away from some religion assignment right now to get on the show. He's a busy man, high in demand. So he's got a few questions prepared, similar to what we just did with Urban Paul. All right, Dale, hit us. What do you have first for us?
All right, so first off, I have a question to ask, and I'm going to ask it as this. So if these three players are all in their prime, you're going to have to cut one,
Oh,
and start one.
So cut one, bench one, start one?
Yes, for
Okay.
one season. Jason
yeah,
Kidd.
you cut out just for a sec. Cut, bench, start.
Yes.
Jason Kidd.
Steve Nash and John Stockton.
Oh,
Okay. I think I have mine. I just got to go with my gut here. I'm starting Steve Nash. I'm starting Steve Nash for sure. I'm a big Nash guy. You'll see that in my point guard rankings whenever we get to that. So I have Nash starting. Dale, who's your starter?
I have John Stockton.
Woo! You got Stockton starting.
the truth is with Dale. I got John Stockton as a starter too.
Really?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll go. I have Stockton on my bench. I don't think I have Malone on this team, so that's why he's not starting. So I have Stockton.
Who's he gonna run the pick and roll with?
Yeah, Steve Nash. So I have Stockton on my bench. Dale, what do you got?
I have Steve Nash on the bench.
Okay.
Again, Dale says the truth. Steve Nash on the bench.
Okay, so then we all agree.
Jason Kidd.
As good as Jason Kidd is, we're gonna have to cut Jason Kidd.
Yeah, that's a great question, Dale. Those
question.
are always super hard. What else you got?
Okay, so the next question I wanted to ask is, in terms of the NFL, who do you think is the best coach of all time?
Okay. So, a couple guys you're thinking of here. Belichick for sure you're thinking of. Lombardi you're thinking of. Landry you're thinking of. I don't know. Who you writing down? Like, those the three that come to mind?
The guy from San Fran, Bill Walsh.
Bill Walsh is up there, too.
I've got Lombardi, Walsh, and Belichick.
So my one would be... Do we have to do a three? Or was it just one, Dale?
Just the number one.
So I'll actually go with Lombardi here. Like, partially because of how revolutionary, like the first winning, dominant coach in football. The Super Bowl trophy's named after him. So, he's got a bonus there. So I'll go with Lombardi as greatest coach ever. But if Belichick can, get a Mac Jones and make a run and build a team, like, I don't want to... Because I don't think he's done yet. I really don't.
Oh, yeah, the book is not closed yet on Belichick. I think he really wants to make a run without Brady, so I bet you he goes another 3 or 4 years.
Dale, what do you got?
I have Bill Belichick, because, yes, Vince Lombardi was the first winning coach, and he never had a team under 500. But no coach has had the success that Bill Belichick has had.
And, we're obviously biased. Dan and I disagree a little bit on the jersey hanging behind me. I'm a bigger Brady guy than he is. I think that Brady had a lot to do with Belichick's winning, and I think this year really, really proved that. I do.
Yeah, but if you look at the Patriots' entire team, they had a lot of guys missing.
Yeah.
A huge part of the defense decided not to play, right?
Oh, they lost a lot of guys.
Yeah.
It's tough to say. We'll see how they come back next year. I'd like Belichick to get a quarterback who can throw the ball 10 yards to see if, like Cam just can't throw the ball. So you have...
Again, Lombardi, Belichick, Landry, Walsh, Chuck Knowles, again, a name we did not mention who was spectacular. Oh, boy, I think I got to go with Vince Lombardi.
Yeah.
Right? Not that many coaches are still quoted 40, 50, 60 years later.
And Belichick's not giving you a lot of quotes. Not that matters, but he's not giving you a lot.
Not a lot of leadership quotes there.
Dare, you got a couple more minutes. What do you got for us?
All right, my next question is for the 2021 Hall of Fame NFL draft class. Do you think that Calvin Johnson deserves the first ballot?
Oh, dude. You asked a couple lines here in this question? 100%.
Just had to make sure.
I agree with you, and part of it is because we're going to be criticized a little bit this because guys like John Elway, who had great stats, we did not put as high in our top 5 because he didn't win a ring. But a wide receiver... only gets the ball, if a wide receiver maybe gets 15 targets in a game, and that is only if Mahomes is throwing it to you. Most of the time you're going to get 10 or 11 or 12 targets. Let's say you catch, 2/3 of the passes. You're only getting 8 passes, maybe you get a reverse. So Calvin Johnson, for him to have such a huge impact, CJ's in for sure.
Yeah, when you look at wide receivers, running backs, you're not basing them off of rings as much as you are a quarterback. It's very, very different. So I say yes, 100%. But, very, very biased. Okay, last question, Dale. What do you got?
So this one is something you guys have already kind of touched on in one of the episodes, but obviously Matthew Stafford was a great quarterback for the Lions. Mm-hmm. Who do you guys think out of every option we have is most realistic and best choice for the team?
So since you said realistic, I can't say Deshaun Watson. So let's cross him off. So I think the debate... I think it's between Zach Wilson and Justin Fields. Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Right? I don't want Goff.
No one wants Goff.
Honestly, I'm not even sure if the Lions take a quarterback this year. It's got to depend on where it goes. I do not want the Lions to trade up. So it's a possibility that the top 4 guys are done before the Lions pick. So I'm picking Fitzmagic as the guy for 2021.
I do want... There was a bit of discussion about that on our Instagram. I would not mind if Fitzpatrick was brought in exactly what Miami did last year.
I think the spicy muffin is hot on Fitzpatrick.
Yeah,
shout out to Jake.
Exactly what the Dolphins did last year with Tua and Fitzpatrick. I'm totally okay if that happens this year and we do end up with the quarterback. Even if we get Wilson or Fields, I would love if Fitzpatrick came in to mentor him for at least a year. What do you got?
Dale, what do you like about the show, and what else do you want to see us do on the show?
I'd like some more of the basketball lineups. Those are always fun to see when you guys pick from movies and genres and stuff like that.
You just always want me to see me beat him a lot some more, right?
Not all the way.
I've just got more depth of knowledge and experience.
That's not the truth. It's called the truth, not the lie.
Dale, you're my man. You're my boy, Dale.
Oh, man. We're going to do a villain draft coming up, Seek Peek. We're going to do an all-time movie villain draft.
Yeah, movie
similar to
villain
what we did
draft.
with Heroes.
Yeah.
Very excited.
So that'll be coming in a few
No superheroes.
episodes. No superheroes, no Star Wars.
Thanos would be pretty decent.
Thanos with the gauntlet. Okay, Dale. Thank you for calling in. We appreciate your time. And
Appreciate the time and support, Dale. Our best to the rest of the family, and good luck with DDC Design.
Thank you.
All right, be in touch. See you, buddy. All right.
Okay.
Again, hopefully your audio was good.
Hopefully, audio was good. If not, we'll adjust for future because we've got some more guys. We need to shout out to Luke Wilson and Dakota Shepley. We got to get those guys
And
on soon.
Some guys that aren't famous celebrities too that we're gonna call in.
Yeah, some regular dudes too.
Yeah.
Gavin wants to go in for sure.
Gavin, Evan, maybe coming
Yeah.
up next.
Oh, Evan is my man for sure. Evan.
Coming up next.
Want to jump into shooting guards?
Yeah, we'll go right in. So
Go
we'll
shooting guards. To clarify, no MJ.
Yeah, similar to what we did with LeBron. We're gonna have MJ. Like we're gonna do 6 to 2 because MJ. That's how I rank them, and because MJ is definitely my one. So a few honorable mentions while my dad just looks at my list. Pistol Pete, Klay Thompson, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller,
I forgot about Pitt.
James Harden. I have honorable mentions. Look, a lot of people want Harden up there. When you look at all-time rankings in basketball, rings basically matter for every position, I think. Unless you're like, there's a few, oddities like an Elgin Baylor where you're going to be super high because of just like how awesome you were, or Charles Barkley that didn't get a ring. But Harden, is a terrible defender. I don't care if he gets steals because he just reaches. He's an awful defender. I read a stat: the Rockets have the best defensive stats since Harden's been traded in the league. Number one.
Yeah.
So I have Harden as an honorable mention. Dad, honorable mentions?
I just fly through mine. Iceman, Jesus Shuttleworth. If you don't know who Jesus Shuttleworth is, you shouldn't be listening to the show. Reggie Miller, Harden, I have his honorable mention. Allen Iverson, and Joe Dumars. That's a bit of homer, but I love Joe. He's great.
So Iverson's another honorable mention. I forgot to put him down.
Yeah.
Another honorable mention. So we want to talk bias. My 6, I had this down as soon as we talked shooting guards, and I looked at my list. Joe Dumars, I actually have at 6. Now, hear me out. A lot of he's not a Harden or anything. When the greatest, maybe athlete in sports history, in Michael Jordan, says that Dumars was the toughest defender he's ever had to face, you get
you get props for that.
You get
for
props
sure.
with me. So I have Dumars at 6, 2 rings, in one of the greatest backcourts of all time, with a Finals MVP in one of those series, and the fact that Mike was not a guy who wanted to give his opponents credit, and he came out and said Dumars was the best defender ever faced.
Good all-around player, classy dude. I agree with you. I've got Jerry West down here. The logo, huge career. He was the only player ever to be named the MVP to a losing team. I just found that out.
And it was the first Finals MVP ever he won too.
I didn't know that.
The first,
That's cool.
yeah.
Okay. I went off to have a successful career as a coach and a GM with the Lakers and Memphis. The logo was awesome. I looked at his stats. Man, he was huge.
So you got West at 6.
Yep.
All right. So 5 now. I actually have Jerry West here.
Okay.
A really underrated two-way player. Was a good defender for the time. He had 5, like you said, only player to win a Finals MVP and lose is pretty historic. And the next closest was probably LeBron, and was it 16 or 17? It was one of those years where he just went like all out and lost to the Warriors dynasty, and he came close. But Jerry West, the steal stat, like getting steals, was introduced because of him. Mm-hmm. He was the one that really started it, and I
Tons
think
of steals.
they ended up bringing it in his final year because of him. And he, as a late 30s, like he was 36 or 37 or 38 maybe, had like 3 steals a game.
Awesome.
So I have West, the logo, at 5.
So I've got Clyde the Glide right here. Lives in the shadow of MJ. Amazing all-around player. He did win, a ring late with Hakeem. Listen, without MJ, Clyde the Glide would have been the man. He was amazing. I think also the fact that he played the bulk of his career in Portland, he didn't get as much play. Again, this was a different era, so you didn't see all the highlights every night. But when you're able to watch Clyde play, he was a beautiful guy to watch.
Yeah.
That was a bit of a weird description.
Pause. I've got Clyde at 4 actually as well.
There you go.
So we agree a little bit here. So there's some truth for you. Like you said, the MJ overshadowing is a really big deal, and it sucks that he played in that era, like we talked about earlier with Irvin Paul, where he played in that era where he wouldn't be able to, like, that Blazers team was a really solid. That early Niners Blazers team was really solid.
Duckworth, Porter, Robinson,
A couple shooters, they had
Jerome
Danny
Kersey,
Ainge,
they were
Petrovic.
good.
They had a lot of guys. So I have Clyde there, a great scorer and a really solid defender. The fact that he got a ring in Houston boosts him a bit. If he didn't get that ring, then maybe there's a different conversation.
Yeah.
What do you got to say?
Dude, why are you disrespecting Uncle Dan? Like Manu Ginobili.
So, okay, are you moving on now?
Yeah, moving on. I'm just surprised you're not even, unless you have Manu higher.
No, I don't have Manu Ginobili higher.
Man, he was awesome on the international stage. He won tons of rings, good defensive player, hit shots, and he's your freaking uncle. Just so those are people that don't know, have you ever seen Dan Cochimilio and Manu Ginobili in the same room at the same time together? You haven't.
Since basically nobody understands that reference, my uncle, his brother-in-law, looks a lot like Manu Ginobili.
Tons.
A lot like Manu Ginobili. So, like so much, like, as soon as we found out Ginobili retired, like, we sent him a text and said, like,
congratulations on
a
great career,
right? Like, he looks a lot like him.
Yeah.
So
that's a bit of a home bias stretch, but I love Manu. I probably would have had him at probably about 6, but I had to move him higher just because he's related to us.
Like, I don't even have down as an honorable mention. Look, like, if you look at Pistol Pete, Clay, Allen, Reggie, Harden, like, I think he's in that group, but I think those guys, if we were to do a 10, he's probably behind that. He's in that tier, but I think he's behind them. So my 3 is Dwayne Wade. Heat culture, baby. I got D. Wade. Yeah. One of the most unselfish superstars in league history. Really is. Like, the fact that he was able to play with Shaq and then go and play with LeBron. And he was able to, when he was with Shaq, he was the one there.
He was 24 years old and he won that championship.
And he was that finals MVP series. Like, I broke down the stats. Like, he averaged 35, 8, 4, 3, and 1.
Wow.
Like, was just, like, crazy. If you look at the stats, like, they called him Flash for a reason. He was lightning, and that was at the point in Shaq's career where he was really, really limited. Like, he could play low block, and he could protect the rim. Like, he really could not do much more. But he still got the ball a lot. And was still a big force down low.
Yep.
But D-Wade could play with Shaq and then could go and be second fiddle to LeBron. Is super impressive. But he was a 1, which is what's very important here. He wasn't a 2 his entire career like Scottie Pippen was. Now, there's some comparisons between these two, which is funny because it comes back to LeBron and MJ. But I've got D-Wade here. He was a 1 and was a great 1. And then he could go and be a 2 or 1.5, however you want to look at it, with Shaq at times and LeBron.
Okay, so lots of great points. I have D-Wade here as well. You covered all the stats and all the things. I remember somebody describing Dwayne Wade as though he's playing the game on a trampoline. Like, he was amazingly athletic, and even the last couple of years of his career, he was still very athletic. And as soon as his athleticism started to drop, he retired. He could have played a couple more years because he could still shoot. He was good with fadeaway and mid-range game, but he was a lot of fun to watch. And he, props to the being 1, but then sliding in and being a really good 2.
And you said he could probably still play. If the Heat get a couple more guys on Rona, I think their next calls are D-Wade and Alonzo Mourning.
Yeah.
I think Zoe is ready, so I think they're going to bring those 2 guys back.
Udonis Haslem has to play. Come on.
UD is really a coach. He should wear a suit on the sideline.
Yeah.
So now this is our 2, because obviously MJ's the 1. There's really no debate. We've got Kobe here, both. I'm assuming you have Kobe as well.
Kobe. Yep.
I'm a bigger Kobe guy than he is. I'm not I don't love Kobe like I do. I don't know, a Michael or somebody like that. But Kobe was, I wrote down the next best thing we've ever gotten to Michael Jordan, the closest that we'll probably ever get. By that I mean, Kobe was Michael Jordan, just a little bit worse at shooting or whatever. Not necessarily 3 points.
Listen, Kobe was an amazing, very driven player. Made a huge impact on a lot of people. One of the reasons why I almost put Dwayne Wade ahead of him is because Kobe was quite selfish early in his career. And that selfishness actually helped the Pistons win a championship. Because,
For sure.
like, he played with Shaq when Shaq was unstoppable.
Yeah.
But Kobe's hitting contested fadeaway threes because he wanted the stats. But listen, 18 seasons, 5 rings, an amazing player. Rest in
great
peace,
defender.
Kobe. Just a year ago in a couple days, he passed away. And that was the start of just an awful 2020. So rest in peace, Kobe. You're number 2 on the list after the great Michael Jordan.
Yeah, so Kobe, like, known as a great scorer, 12 all defensive teams, was a great defender.
Yeah.
Like you said, you know, it would have been nice if he and Shaq could have figured it out and played alongside each other, kind of like LeBron and Wade, actually, like where they could both be dominant, but, you know, Kobe's better than D Wade, right? So it's tough to say that, you know, a young Kobe who was in his prime at that time was playing with a Shaq who was also in his prime, but they just couldn't mesh. Where, you know, let's look at Steph and KD. Steph and KD, I would probably argue they were both in their primes when they played together.
Yep.
And it's different, obviously. One wasn't a back down punisher like Shaq, but they made it work, and it would have been nice to see. But regardless, like if they made it work, we have a conversation if he's better than Michael.
I mean, Shaq did have a line in a rap song, Kobe has my ass taste, so I don't think they were pals.
Well, they did reconcile towards the end of like their basketball careers. But now Shaq just beefs with everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Shaq and a fool.
We have Michael 1. There's not a debate. There isn't.
Kobe, D Wade. I've got Uncle Dan. Disrespected Manu, Clyde, and Jerry West. You've got.
I got Joey D, Jerry West, Clyde, D Wade, Kobe, and Mike. Yeah, like Kobe and Michael. You can't say. I don't think you can say Kobe's better than Mike. I don't. If Shaq and Kobe worked and could play together for a decade or more, it's a different debate. But we never got that, unfortunately. So I think we're all good. Dad, you want to wrap things up?
Yep, Valentine's Day is coming up. So what better Valentine's gift than some The Truth with Tal and Isaac merch? Just reach out to Isaac on Instagram and order some stuff. We still have a few different shirts, a couple hats left, long sleeve tee, and maybe a long sleeve
quarter
hoodie.
zips, full zips, lots
Cool.
of stuff.
Thanks very much for your support, Isaac. Great show, good show prep. Next episode, we've got Super Bowl prep. It's Super Bowl week. Have a great day, everybody.